Today, we're going to break down which kinds of women are most often drawn to partners with narcissistic traits, why it happens, and what we should understand in order to avoid falling into painful emotional dependency. This topic matters because in the beginning, these relationships often feel bright, intense, and almost fated. A person feels like they've finally met someone strong, confident, someone who can give direction and protect them from their own inner insecurity. But what we almost never notice in the first weeks is that this brightness and confidence often hide a fear of vulnerability and a need to control anyone capable of giving a lot of emotional attention and energy. A narcissistic partner doesn't gravitate towards someone by accident. The choice is rarely random. He looks for those who know how to listen, empathize, support, those who are emotionally alive and perceive the world more deeply. Women with this profile may have vivid sensitivity, inner warmth, and the ability to genuinely invest in another person. And that becomes the very resource the partner tries to claim. He may seem like someone who is composed, knows what he wants, and is ready to lead. But inside, there is often a fear of not being recognized, a fear that if he isn't the center of someone else's attention, he will disappear. A woman who enters relationships like this often carries her own emotional history. Maybe as a child, she had to grow up early, be convenient, anticipate expectations, avoid causing tension. Sometimes love felt conditional. As long as you're useful, as long as you comply, as long as you don't show too many feelings. The strategy formed in that environment to rescue, endure, and support later becomes a familiar relational pattern. And when someone appears who projects strength and certainty, an inner hope emerges. Maybe I can finally relax next to someone confident. The beginning of a relationship with a narcissistic personality often feels like an emotional explosion. He's attentive, he bonds fast, expresses care, gives compliments, creates a sense of exclusivity. It's not a mask in the literal sense. It's a way to receive admiration and emotional supply. But this intensity slowly turns into control. The partner may subtly start setting demands, regulating boundaries, influencing decisions, shaping who you talk to, how you spend your time, how much of yourself you keep. It may sound like care, but in essence, it is management. For a woman accustomed to earning love, this dynamic feels familiar. Support feels like the norm. She begins to feel that in order to preserve this bright closeness, she has to adapt. And this process doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like a necessary condition for love. Over time, anxiety grows. A fear appears. If I say too much, if I show dissatisfaction, if I choose myself, everything will fall apart. And that anxiety deepens the attachment. A narcissistic partner can only give the kind of closeness that strengthens dependency. He warms up when you are compliant, and he turns cold when you become independent. This creates emotional whiplash that forms a powerful addiction. The warm phase becomes a reward you keep waiting for. On a psychological level, it resembles an attempt to complete an old story, to finally receive the love that was once inaccessible. From the narcissistic side, there is often a fear of being rejected first. Internally, he needs control. He rarely admits mistakes because doing so feels like weakness. It's hard for him to witness someone else's pain because empathy feels threatening to his internal stability. He chooses distance, devaluation, or blame because it preserves a sense of power, and the woman beside him tries harder and harder to comply. She may lose her desires, her social circle, her interests, her energy. She begins to measure her worth by his attention. And the lower her self-esteem falls, the stronger her need to hold on. She hopes those first days were real, that the brightness and care were depth, not a way to secure attention. That hope lasts a long time because it's fueled not by reason, but by an inner hunger for acceptance. Ending such a relationship is often painful. Even when the narcissist is the one who leaves, the woman feels emptiness, as if her significance disappeared with him. Her mind may go back to him, replay moments, wait for a message, search for explanations. It's not weakness. It's a predictable reaction to emotional dependency built on inconsistent access to love. Healing doesn't begin with blame or trying to change the other person. It begins with returning to yourself. It helps to acknowledge your pain, allow vulnerability, rebuild boundaries, reconnect with hobbies, interests, physicality, friendships, goals. This isn't about shutting down. It's about remembering that your value is not measured by how convenient you are. Gradually, inner stability forms again. A woman starts to notice that a partner's confidence is not the only source of meaning, that love doesn't have to be built on fear of loss, that respect and dialogue matter far more than emotional fireworks. She learns to notice manipulation, to differentiate between love and dependency, to stop idealizing strength that suppresses. And one day she realizes the attraction to such relationships was not destiny. It was an experience, meaningful, painful, but complete. At that point, what matters in relationships is not intensity but stability, not power games, but the ability to grow alongside someone, not drama, but the sense of being truly seen. When that happens, the choice shifts. She gains the ability to say, I want to be where my depth isn't exploited, but shared, where my sensitivity is not a resource for others, but part of equal connection. And in that moment, the pull toward a narcissistic personality loses its power, because there is no deficit inside to feed it. There is support, there is clarity, there is the ability to choose yourself. Thank you for watching this video to the end and giving attention to a topic that often stays hidden. If this format resonates with you, you can support the channel, subscribe, and leave a comment. That helps expand the dialogue and bring up topics that matter to many people.